Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to tackle the eyes. Okay, because the eyes right now aren't following the head around. And if I bind the eyes to the head, or to a joint, I can't rotate them, they're stuck. Okay, so I want them to follow the head independently. And so what I'm going to do is, well, I could just parent them directly to these bones, but I typically like to keep my bones and my geometry separate. Okay, I don't want the hierarchies mixing up here in the hypergraph. So where are they? Boop, boop. And there. And these things are sitting over here somewhere in my geometry group. Okay, so I don't want them to follow along. And what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to take the eyeballs and I'm going to go ahead and group them. So I've just grouped them. I hit Control G and that just made the group right here. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to take the move tool. Is this stuff too... I hope it's not too loud in the background, but I need this, otherwise I can't focus. And got the move tool on. I just want to snap it to this joint right here. I'm going to hold down D and V and I'm going to middle click snap. There. So now the group is pivot pointed right there on this joint. Okay, this is just a handy little trick I like to do. And then I go in here and I'm going to call this eye group. Eye group. And now I can leave the eyes there. And if I want them to follow along this joint, you know, you'd parent them. But if you don't want to parent them, there's another little thing here under constrain called a parent constraint. And so basically it's going to make it stuck on there, but it's not going to actually be part of the hierarchy. Something I have to make sure that I'm doing as well is make sure that the last object selected is the eye group. And right now it says neck 3. If I just go up here to object, you'll see there's neck 3 and there's eye groups. And neck 3 is the last one selected, so that's bad. Okay, so it's kind of like the opposite of parenting. Okay, you have to flip it around. So if I click on eye group, that'll switch the order of selection around. And now when I go here to constrain, I hit parent constraint, and I go over and I grab just this joint alone. And I go and I grab the rotate tool. The eyeballs will follow the head. Okay, awesome. And so now we got the eyes following the head. This is good, but now I want to control where the eyes are pointing at. Now this constrain menu over here, we've got another thing in here called an aim constraint. And the aim constraint, it's got a bunch of little things set on here. Okay, great. What I want to do is I want to make an object that the eyes will look at. This is going to be the simplest eye rig. Okay, I've got like 2 eye rigs. This is going to be simple. And later on I'll show you I've got an advanced one that works a lot better. But if I go in here and I create something like a locator. Okay, and if I go into here, let's go into forward to wireframe, and I just got my move tool on. I'm just going to hold down V and I'm going to middle click snap. Right, middle click snap right there. Awesome. So I got my little locator and I'll pull it out in front of the eyes here. Now I'm just going to call this locator, I'm going to call it eye interest. Okay, and now that that's here, yeah, I'll move it down a little bit. I'm just going to freeze the transformations on this thing so it's zeroed out. Okay, awesome. And what I'm going to do is right in here I've got this aim constraint option box open. Now if I take a look at this eyeball, what do we got? We got to translate Y on it, and okay, I'm just going to freeze the transformations on it. So it's pointing straight forward. It's along the Z axis here. And if I look here, aim vector is set to 1, 0, and 0. These columns mean X, Y, and Z. So if I was going to go and constrain it right now, it's going to constrain the X axis to this thing over here, and that's going to suck. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to make that 0. You can change this afterwards as well in the attribute editor, but I'm going to do it all right the first time here. So I select this, hold down shift, select the eyeball, and I put this one here to 1. Remember, the last object selected when you're doing a constraint is the object that gets affected. And I'm going to go and hit add. It twitched. So now when I grab this thing, the eye is going to follow it. Oh, that's creepy. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to grab this, hold down shift, and grab that. God damn it. Grab this. And if I go in here and constrain, and I've got the same options I had before on, boop, now it's stuck to it too. Now when I take a look at this thing, woohoo! this will follow this object around. The locator is now sitting over here. And I'm just trying to decide which way I want to go with this. Where do I want to put the locator? I could just parent the locator to the skeleton, but if I hide the skeleton, then I won't be able to find the locator. So I think I'm going to do the same thing again. Grab the neck 3 joint, hold down shift, select this, and I'm going to go constrain, and I'm going to do a parent constraint so it follows the head around. So whenever I take this head and I rotate it, boop, 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 boop. Oh, that weighting looks kind of bad. Actually, it might be part of the texture, but the weighting looks kind of bad here. Anyway, let's see what happens when I twist like this. Okay, we're just going to leave it like that. But there you go. There's the simplest eye rig, and the only default of the, or not default, the only fault of this rig here is I just find that if you want the eyes right now, they look like they're always looking at something right in front of them. If you want them to look a bit distant, you have to pull this thing out, and then when you look around at it, and here I'll just do this. If I go in and grab the center of this thing and I do this, then I can move it around, and if I kind of zoom in and I middle click, I can move it around a little bit. It twitches. It's okay, but anyway, that's done.